Hey everybody, thank you so much for your interest in my upcoming 10-week course, Mindfulness for Resilience. When I look back on my 25 plus years of mindfulness practice at myself and at my students, I see one thing that we almost all have in common. We are burned out, but we still want to be doing more. This is our situation. And I see an endless litany of unhelpful suggestions in this area coming from all kinds of self-help teachings and schools, inviting us to rest more or do less or become minimalists or just breathe. But that's not going to cut it. Not for me, and I don't think for you either. I'm doing all of the things I'm doing because I care. I care about a life of service to my family, to my business, to my own self-care, to the things that I care about in the world. And so what I'm really looking for when I look at the intersection of mindfulness and resilience is increased capacity. I want to be more effective. I want to be more powerful. So how do we do this? When I unpack the definition of resilience, right, because if I look at it in the dictionary, it says helpful things like being able to overcome failure, being able to persevere in the face of difficulty. And it does sound helpful, like helpful skills. But when I look very deeply at them, when I use the eye of mindfulness, I see that they all come back to a singular capacity. My resilience is directly proportional to the amount of space that I can maintain between stimulus and response. If that space is very small or even non-existent, then my whole day feels like an emergency. I am in a constant reactionary state. But if I can cultivate that space between stimulus and response, if I can consistently maintain that space between incoming stimulus and my response, then my responses become more clear. They become more calm. They become more creative. They become more thoughtful and less habitual, less reactionary. This makes me more powerful. This lets me do even more. So in this course, you're not going to hear me give you the advice to just breathe. Instead, we're going to go through some very applicable, real-world insights and practices that can help us to increase that space. Let me give you an example of one that has helped me. I've been out of the monastery now for 5 years. So I'm just like you, have been trafficking in the world of business, finance, keeping up with my emails. The world is coming at us fast and furious. And so if I want to be able to thoughtfully and deliberately respond to it, I need tools. I need teaching. I need community. And that's what the course is all about. So let me give you an example of something that I use on a regular basis that increases and maintains my resilience, my flexibility and power in the face of difficulty. We all want to be happy. I know I do. My mindfulness practice has helped me see that one of the biggest obstacles between me and actual happiness is a lack of understanding. We're trained from a child in our culture to associate happiness with pleasure. And pleasure is impossible to consistently maintain. Suffering is everywhere. It's inevitable. It's commonplace. We get sick, things go wrong, people we care about move away or die. And so to the extent that my happiness is lashed to this idea of a persistent pleasure, be it joy or excitement or sensual pleasure, is to the extent that I am doomed to never actually touch happiness. Right? And so instead, I invite us to look at happiness as a coin with two sides. On one side of the coin is that joy, that pleasure, that sense of accomplishment, etc., that we all love. But on the other side of that coin is suffering, it's pain, is dissatisfaction. Because those are all real and ever present. And so then happiness can be understood as the coin with those two sides, joy on one side and suffering on the other. And so my life, when it's happy, is a balanced combination of those two experiences. I can maintain an awareness of this, for example, with a very simple 2-word practice. When something happens that's really positive and I catch myself getting excited and really enjoying it, I can say very simply to myself, and this. And then when something happens that is painful or saddening or disappointing, I can say to myself, and this. By doing this, I'm training myself to see that every moment has those two sides, that my life is a combination of those two sides. And then I care more about how I respond to joy and how I respond to suffering than I do about maintaining one and struggling all the time, fruitlessly, to diminish the other. Just this one insight can dramatically increase our ability to endure the difficulties that are commonly and often coming, to increase our resilience. So go to davekenneally.com/healyourheart and register for the course. I've set it up so that there's only 10 seats. And this was done with the idea of keeping the cohort small enough that we all felt like we were having a personalized experience and to give me time to be able to work with each of you one-on-one. In my long-standing experience, mindfulness practice takes 3 things. It takes training, it takes the support of an experienced teacher, and it takes community. I created this course to provide all 3 of those things in one accessible package. If you have any more questions, at the bottom of that website where all the details of the course and how it plays out are broken down, you'll see a calendar where you can sign up for a free 30-minute one-to-one Zoom call with me. And in this insight call, we'll talk about how your practice is actually going, what your goals and aspirations are for your practice, and we can hash out together whether the course is a good fit for you. Together, we got this.